Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a wine from McLaren Vale. This is a Shiraz from a producer called Darrenberg, and this is the Dead Arm Shiraz from 2018. Now today the estate is run by somebody called Chester Osborn, and Chester's an extrovert. He's a larger than life character who loves wearing loud shirts. He's the fourth generation of his family growing grapes and making wine in the McLaren Vale. His ancestor Joseph was the person who established vineyards here, but he originally sold his grapes to other producers. In 1927, the family built a winery and have been making wines there ever since. Now, Dead Arm is the flagship of a huge eclectic selection, probably about 60 wines, all with quirky names and peculiar backstories. So there's quite a vibrant, lively approach to winemaking and marketing here. Their wines come predominantly from the McLaren Vale, but they do also make wines in the Adelaide Hills. Now the name Dead Arm is a reference to they say on the back label here, to a fungal disease called Utipia latae. And the idea is that the grapevine's trunk grows, and there are two arms that run along the wires on either side. What Utipia latae is a fungal disease that affects a single arm. It rots the wood, and therefore the grape grower will come along and they'll cut the arm off to prevent the disease getting into the trunk of the vine. And a side effect of this is that the grapevine's production is all focused on a single arm, and therefore you'll get a lower yield, you'll get more intense concentrated fruit, and that's the selling point of Dead Arm as a brand. Now, pedant in me has been slightly affronted by this, because actually in the old textbooks I looked at, Utipia latae is actually described as dying arm, not dead arm. And actually Dead Arm is the name for another disease called Phomopsis viticola. However, doing some research today, I find out that actually these days scientists are suggesting dropping the term Dead Arm for Phomopsis viticola, because actually they found out that Utipia latae is often what's responsible for the dying arm when it was thought to be Phomopsis viticola. And the confusion that creates means that one of these two diseases, both of which need treating in different ways, may go untreated. So they're discouraging people from using the term Dead Arm in relation to Phomopsis viticola. So maybe the Osborns are ahead of us all there. So anyway, the upshot of this is that this is a wine made from low-yielding old Shiraz vines from the McLaren Vale. These are picked and vinified by plot. They'll be hand-picked old vines, that almost always are. And these particular lots of wine are kept separate until final blending, giving the winemaker as many options as possible. Fruit is gently crushed and it's put into 5-ton open fermenters. So these are quite small fermenters, to ensure that the cap of skins that rises as the fermentation starts, the CO2 within the wine, pushes the skins to the top. They've put in, below the surface of the juice, what are called heading down boards. So you've got wooden boards that create a lattice to stop this cap of skins from rising up and to stop it from drying out and becoming oxidised. Evidently 2/3 the way through fermentation, these boards are taken out and the maceration is completed by foot treading the fruit. While still fermenting, the must is run off and the skins are pressed using a basket press to give very gentle extraction. And fermentation continues in barrel. There's a mixture of older and newer oak being used, and malolactic conversion takes place in barrel as well. The wine ages on its lees until final blending, and then the wine is bottled with no fining or filtration whatsoever. So let's see what we make of the wine, shall we? As a first impression, the wine is deep and dark. It has a quite vivid purple. I mean, it's a black red, but there's a purple note at the rim. As I swirl the wine, it forms notable tears on the side of the glass, and it stains the glass as well. So, it's an opaque wine. It has deep, dark colour and plenty of body. So let's see what we make of the aroma, shall we? The aromas are quite savoury. There's an earthy, leathery note, a woodiness, and that's covering dark, ripe fruit. There's maybe blackberries there, maybe blueberries, perhaps a little bit of boysenberry. There's a spicy note as well and a little bit of smokiness. So let's taste. full-bodied red with plentiful tannin. The tannin has a drying note, but actually is quite supple. It has a fine, dusty layer, just giving a little bit of grip to tannins. The alcohol at 14.5% is giving plenty of body to the mid-palate. There's a juiciness, a really sort of black cherry, dark cherry, boysenberry note to the mid-palate. There's a little bit of cedar at that stage note from oak. And then the juicy fruit carries on to the finish, where again there's more of that boysenberry note. There's a little bit of sort of red fruit, lifted red fruit, almost a touch of raspberry. And there's some little bits of spice as well, so you're just getting a bit of cinnamon note. There's a slightly drying sort of coffee-ish note on the mid-palate as well. So the flavours are lasting reasonably well. There's quite a savoury note to this wine. I mentioned leatheriness on the nose. The flavour isn't really there as leatheriness, but there's almost a sort of a slightly meaty, leathery texture. So yes, I think this is a wine that needs a little more time for the intense fruit on the palate to open a little more and show itself better. Currently it's a bit structured, a little bit brooding. But if you look, there's some lovely fruit under there, there's some nice freshness. The acidity is not particularly high, but it's in balance. There's a juicy note to the finish that's, so I think possibly leave the wine for 2 or 3 years before coming back to it. And almost certainly it has the structure, and has good balance, so should be able to age for at least 10 years, probably more. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found the video of interest. If you've enjoyed it, do please press the like button. We would very much appreciate that. Consider signing up and following us on YouTube. It would be great to have your support there. If you have any comments, do please leave those in the comments box below. We'd love to get your feedback about the wines we're tasting, the tastings we're doing, or anything else related to that. And also, if you have any friends who you think you might be interested, do feel free to share the video with them. That would be fantastic. Most importantly, however, do please try and make some time to come and join us for another tasting in the very near future, won't you? Thanks again. Bye for now.